Welcome to the Flashback Paradox. I would say welcome back, but it's our second video and yeah. So, welcome to the place where we rewind and revisit the games, movies and shows that shaped us and see them through older, wiser and sometimes weirder eyes. Today, we're walking back into the fog. This is the original 1999 psychological horror that turned hardware limitations into emotional terror. It was marketed like a typical survival horror game, Resident Evil, but with more fog. But what I got instead was a slow descent into grief, guilt, and nightmares. I remember the slow dread, the empty echoes of footsteps, the progression, sure, but I never completely understood it. It always felt like I was missing something, something vital, something to clear the fog. You play as Harry Mason, a father searching for his adopted daughter, Cheryl, in the mysterious town of Silent Hill after a car crash. But this isn't your average Dead Saves the Daughter plot. It's a spiral into metaphysical horror, cult activity, childhood trauma, and maybe purgatory? The story is layered, deliberately vague. Is Silent Hill real? Is Harry hallucinating? Even now, it's a choose your own explanation kind of horror, even with all the information that's come out since release. At its core, Silent Hill is about more than the monsters. This wasn't a game about fighting monsters, it was a game about not understanding them. It's about what those monsters represent: trauma, guilt, repression. Harry's journey isn't just physical, it's psychological. He's forced to question what's real, what's illusion, and whether he was ever meant to save Cheryl at all. Remember how I just said the story was about Harry? Well, that was a lie. It's actually about a girl with psychic powers whose soul was split and mind was shattered after a ritual to speed up the coming of God went wrong, and the other world, and those monsters, well, they're just slips and projections from a mind. What you are experiencing and cowering from is only a fraction. Think about that. The final twist, depending on your ending, isn't triumphant, it's usually tragic or confusing or both. Let's talk gameplay. Silent Hill is slow, deliberate, and clunky, but that's part of the charm. You weren't supposed to be a cop or a soldier, you were a regular guy, scared, underprepared, confused. Looking back, it's only now that I realized how intuitive and thoughtful the mechanics to the gameplay were. From the map that was updated in real time the more you explored, giving you a sense of direction and progression, it kept you moving. That way, the game's pacing felt consistent because even for a very young me, it was quite simple to generally figure out where to go next. This brings me to how unique and creative the camera work was. When the game wanted you to look at something specific, it locked it in place to make sure you don't miss what's happening. And when exploration was required, you had the freedom to move it at will. In 1999, the fog, which was initially a hardware limitation as the PS1 couldn't fully render everything at once in high quality, actually became its greatest strength, limiting vision, building dread. Fear of the unknown led you to creating horrors in your head from mere impressions of things half seen. I won't say to what extent that affected how my young brain interpreted shadows in the dark once I put the console down. The combat was designed to either fight the monsters you can or run from those you can't. Some battles you had to choose, because if you waste your ammo when you could run, you have a hard time when you couldn't. The radio mechanic was my personal favorite. It worked like an early warning system. If there was static, you'd know there's a monster coming. Silence meant you were safe. Until like the last 10% of the game, where it's the opposite and it doesn't tell you, you just had to figure it out. Which is in line with the theme of an unraveling mind. You can't trust what you thought you knew, and you have to wonder if it was like that at all. All in all, while I didn't fully appreciate it then, it certainly is kind of mind blowing how thought out all these little details were. They formed an experience like no other. Now, the game is imperfect, and some things even nostalgia cannot cover. We start with the map. With the very limited power of the original console, it took a while for the map to come up, and every time you needed to look at it, and you had to look at it a lot, so much so that it actually takes the immersion out of the whole experience. It became a loop of going map, and game. Then we have the second half of the game. If you've been playing it right, by this point you have so much ammo and health that you aren't really hiding or running from enemies anymore. You actually look forward to them because you are the strongest thing there, which greatly removes the dread and tension in the exploration of the game. And then there are the boss fights. While they may vary in design and placement, the experience is pretty much one note. You aim, back away, shoot, and heal. That's it. No other options, just rinse and repeat till whatever you're shooting at is dead, which becomes real boring real fast. Silent Hill birthed the franchise, sure, but nothing hits quite like the first one. It was horror through atmosphere, ambiguity, and emotion. It was a nightmare you explored with a flashlight and a broken radio. The game is so specifically designed that the more you get into it, the more you start questioning what's real. It started off with slow, almost no voices and sounds except for your footsteps. But towards the end, you hear voices, see things, and experience sounds that you know shouldn't be there, but are. And yeah, the graphics are dated. The voice acting is, yeah. But the feelings, the unease, the dread, still potent, still powerful, and still somewhere just out of sight. Thanks for stepping into the mist with me. Which childhood favorite should we revisit next? Drop your suggestions in the comments, like, subscribe, and remember, some memories don't fade, they just get louder.